here's what's going on. We're replacing our intercom system over at the soundstage, and we're going to build one. There are, like all industries, there are ways of accomplishing these goals, and there are lots of box-related products where you can go and buy a system, install it in the rack, and turn it on and customize it, and it should be good to go. Or you can put it together yourself with parts that are available in the industry, piece it together, customize it, and get it up and running. Well, quite honestly, the way that I see this is buying a box system is really only advantageous when you really don't know anything about audio, patching, routing, Dante, a bunch of things. When you just need something quick and good, like let's go right away, get this up and running as fast as we can. When that's the case, then, and maybe your technical base is not very, we'll say your volunteers are not very deep in terms of how much they can really understand what it is that you need to do. That becomes, you start shopping more frequently for I just want to purchase something that I can turn on and it works. Our current system, which is a Ceramonic system, is that type of system. It's a wireless-based system. It's expandable, kind of, and Hollyland has a system like that, a wireless-based system. Also, it's great if you just want to, I just want to put in a line item. This year we're going to buy an intercom system. It's going to be $5,000. And then I pay $5,000 and I get whatever products I can get for $5,000. If that's your goal, fantastic. If that's your level of integration, great. That sort of product works great for you. And companies have made a lot of money providing that kind of turnkey solution for churches and lecture halls and schools and all sorts of things. So that is category number one. Okay, that's kind of like baseline intercom system level number one. The next level is kind of adding some customization things to those systems. And so maybe you want to expand, you're going to have to buy the hub to do that, and then you're going to add more headsets, you got to synchronize them, you got to do a few things, and maybe you want to add program to that system, maybe there's a way to do that, and so you're going to figure that out. That's like phase two, that's like baseline with customization, right? So you're thinking a little bit more about integration. Beyond that is just full-on customization. And there are a couple of camps here. There are places, companies like Clearcom, who offer still an in-box experience where you can put the unit in the rack and you can plug in an array of headphones and, you can kind of be off to the races. You can run wire. You can do it over AV, AV over IP. You can do a handful of things with that. And it's quite versatile. Also, a company like Clearcom integrates with other companies on a much broader scale, and they've done a lot of that work for you as you buy it. Now, with that feature set comes a fair bit of expense, and so it's more expensive to go down this route where you have a company that specializes in doing intercoms or something like that. You buy, I want 10 headsets with an intercom system. You buy that package, you install it in your network rack, you run the cables, you plug them in, you route them through the system, and it works. It does. They've made their money making sure that sort of thing works. So good news is that's kind of level 3, where it's more intentional. The purchase is still turnkey, but it's a far more intentional system for that thing, and Clearcom is a great example of that. But the next level of craziness for that, basically, because you can do all the customization on that level 3, you can add other products. The next one is just full customized for your purpose, a unit that is fully customized and that you've built from the ground up. And so I kind of went from phase 1 to phase 4, just straight up. I decided, you know what, nuts to this. There are some pretty big trade-offs here, which you should be aware of, and it's not a perfect, implementation of the system. But I definitely want to explain why it is that I'm comfortable going in this direction. So this phase, I don't know if it's phase 4 or like phase, 3.2, but this phase is you buy products that can accomplish your goal, but you integrate them yourself and they don't necessarily all belong to the same company. So you buy a product from here and you buy a product from here and you buy. It's kind of like building your own computer, right? If you build your own computer, you're not going to the Micro Center and paying for a fully assembled, customized, fully assembled product. You are building it, meaning you're going and you're picking out the case or the server rack. You're going and you're picking out the motherboard. You're going and picking out the chip that you want, AMD or Intel. You're going to pick out the GPU and the RAM, and you're doing all of the things, and then ordering all those parts, and then putting them together, and then seeing if they work. And what's extremely dangerous about this is you don't know if it's going to work. But what's extremely satisfying is when it does all work. And that, I think, is where I get the biggest dopamine kick in the whole world. Because if I can build something from a bunch of parts and get it all to work at high efficiency levels, and it be far more flexible than anything that we have had before, that's like a huge deal for me. And a matter of fact, it proves that I can do it, proves that I still got a bit of an edge in the game. And quite frankly, you don't necessarily have to invent it all yourself. And I need to give proper kudos here to who it's due, and to a guy named Doug Johnson Productions. So he did a video several years ago about how he made an intercom system with an X32. It was an X32 rack. Okay, so it had inputs and outputs. But about a year ago, he created another video saying, this thing is way too restrictive for the flexibility that I need. And so instead, I'm going to try building it with these systems. And here's what I've done. And so not only does he show the products that he buys on that video, he shows the integration. Now, it takes a little bit of fumbling about to figure out how to get all of this to work. But I will go through the products that we purchased, which are very similar to the ones that Doug chose. I think they're all suggestions from the ones that Doug chose. But we will show the products, and I will explain to you the way that I went about creating the map. That's what today's show is all about.